Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new video. Now last week I took 10,000 GP and purchased gear that was able to kill barrows. Now today I wanted to try something a little bit different. I want to take on Zulrah. Now this isn't going to be with 10,000 GP of gear because, well, I thought about it, but pretty quickly you can kind of realize that that's not really possible. The prayer potion cost alone is going to be over 10,000 GP, so not really going to be viable. However, today's challenge is going to be for 100,000 GP, which is going to be pretty tight as far as I can tell. Now, traditionally, Zulrah is killed with two different combat styles, ranged and magic. Now, it is definitely possible to kill it with just magic. However, that will make my kill times a lot longer, longer than they are already likely to be, which is going to take way more prayer potions, which I think at the end is not going to be worth it. Now, generally, when people start doing Zulrah, one really budget piece of gear that is almost necessary is the Iban's staff. And while you do get one for free, I would argue that the inherent value of the Iban's staff is more close to 200k because that is the repair cost when it is broken, which I think in this case would not be fair. So we're not actually going to be using the Iban's staff today, which is a bit of a blow because that is a really good weapon. Now I was looking around and the only other alternative that I could find is actually the Slayer Dart spell, which has a max hit of I think around 19 with my current magic level, and is fairly cost effective, and the actual staff only costs 20,000 GP. Definitely not ideal, but we're going to be taking that, and that is going to be the basis for today's build. I'm really having to downgrade my gear to a impoverished level. However, the only free piece of gear I use is the imbued God Cape. Everything else is going to cost some amount of money. Alright, here's the ultimate Zulrah killing gear. Okay, now it looks kind of funny, but actually the offensive bonuses aren't that trash. They're pretty bad. The things that you end up really missing with this cheap gear is defensive bonuses that come along with some of the higher level gear. But anyway, so this is what we ended up going with. Well, for magic we have the Slayer staff like we were mentioning. Now for the robe top and bottom we could not afford Mystic, but taking like free to play robes are just so terrible, so we had to go for exhibitions, and then it's in between robe top and bottom, which have a cost of around 8,000 or 7,000 GP each and provide relatively okay magic attack bonuses. Now for the offhand shield slot, we actually have a Brutus shield. A very cheap shield actually provides a pretty solid defensive bonus as well as a very minor magic attack bonus. And on top of that, it just looks really cool. And the last piece of gear that gives magic is the adamant gloves. That's all we could really afford with this budget. Now for our ranged switch, we have the Aves accumulator, snakeskin robe top and bottom, the rune crossbow, which is pretty much necessary, and the snakeskin shield, which is very cheap and provides a bit of defensive bonuses at least. And we didn't really bother with the bandana because that blue hat just looks so damn cool. Now on top of that, we also have the supply cost, which alone was already about a third of the budget. We're just going to be taking a ranging potion, a antivenom 2, and 2 prayer potions, and as well as 2 rings of recoil. Now when priced out at the average GE price, it came to around 103,000 GP, which is I guess a slightly bit over, but pretty much 100k worth of gear. When we price check here, it comes out to around 116, which is a bit higher. I'm not quite sure why, but at this point I'm not really sure what else we can cut here. Maybe a prayer potion, I'm not 100% sure, but regardless, what I priced it at was around 100,000 GP. Now let's go ahead and give this a try and actually see if we can go ahead and get a kill. Okay, I figured out what I was not counting before. I actually forgot to cost the Slayer staff. I just counted the cost of the runes, so we're just going to run with this, and at the end we'll see how many supply costs we have left. We'll subtract it from our total investment, and we'll see if that's somewhere around 100k, because currently actually we invested around 120k. But anyway, we're starting off with our first attempt at Zulrah with the magic dart spell. Really have not used this very much at all, or I guess Slayer dart I should say. Again, max hit of 19. It does scale with your magic level, so if you have a lower magic level, you're going to have a much lower max hit. Now, I am very rusty at Zulrah, so on top of using the possible shittest gear in the entire game, I'm also not in practice very much. We did get the range phase first, which is my favorite phase. I'm not really sure if the magic dart spell is going to be stronger than the rune crossbow. I would imagine not, as I think range probably scales a bit better. Okay, we're not really used to the slow attack speed yet. Oh my god. Well, that was embarrassing. Okay, try number 2. We didn't change anything up. Okay, try number 1 was pretty bad. But the thing I'm really not used to is the attack speed. The Trident and the Toxic Trident have a higher cast animation which when you're used to dodging this guy's melee attacks is actually pretty important. Not to mention the rune crossbow is a lot slower as well. We actually had a 100 XP drop there. That must have been about a 20. Well, I am totally screwed. Can you home teleport out of here? No, you cannot. Well, I should have probably brought a teleport of some sort. Okay, this is attempt number 3. We're just going to jump right in here. Gonna drink the ranging potion first because I keep forgetting to do that. Not very impressed with the Slayer Dart so far. It's not horrendous, and we do occasionally hit the max hit of 19, but it definitely leaves something to be desired. It's not very accurate. The attack speed is lower. Now, if we can tank this one out, it's actually pretty decent of a rotation, and we didn't actually take too much damage here. So that actually is a very nice start for us this time. We really want to make sure we are mostly full health at the end of each rotation, because our food also is pretty shit. Damn, our range is definitely much more powerful than magic, because at least we have the rune crossbow. Now, this one's looking quite a bit more promising. Didn't need that on, but now we do. Oh my god, that was awful. Okay, we're onto the range phase here. This is nice because we get 2 range phases right here. There's no way we're gonna actually do this in 1 rotation. So we're gonna have to go into 2 rotations here. That always sucks because it's hard to actually know what the next rotation is at that point. Our recoil is probably gonna break pretty soon too as well. Okay, we got 1 more range phase here, and it is under half health. We had the wrong prey on, of course. Okay, so we have 1 more magic phase and then Jad. Our ring recoil is somehow not broken yet. That's kind of nice. Heal up here. Now we're onto the Jad phase. Magic first. I forgot to change my gear. That is really unfortunate. Ooh, 100. Okay, well, whatever. It's definitely better to just tank that out, I think. Oh, right. There's 1 more of these, too. I never get this far into the Zulrah kills. Okay, this is looking pretty good so far. If we switch back here to ranged, chuck that Brutus shield on. But Zulrah is pretty damn weak with this gear. We only have a couple more hits we need to do here. Hopefully don't run out of any ammunition. Another magic phase. That's not ideal. Okay, we survived the magic phase. Oh god, come on, we're so close. No, yes, no. Oh my god, we did it. Thank god. Alright, what do we get as loot? A magic seed, mahogany logs, and some Zulrah scales. Whew, that was really damn close, but we did it. And with actually a full prayer potion almost to spare, we could have, we could have actually cheaped out on a few other things here. So yeah, I was around 15k over, but I also had quite a, I wouldn't say quite a few supplies, but enough so that I probably could do it with 1 prayer potion, which would bring it down to under 100k and or 100k. Oh my god, I'm actually stoked. I didn't think that was going to happen. Now let's go ahead and double check the amount of supplies we had left over. We had 1 prayer potion 3 worth around 7.8k, 44 death runes worth around 9,000 GP, 276 mind runes, a ring of recoil, a swordfish, bringing us another 19,000 GP. Considering that I spent around 120k, that means that pretty much with 100k investment for gear, supplies, and anything else needed for a Zulrah kill is possible. Now, one thing I forgot to mention at the beginning is my actual stats. I do have 96 range as well as 90 magic, so definitely on the higher end for Zulrah, so this may not really be possible with mid-level stats. That being said, this is for fun. Nobody ideally would be killing Zulrah in this gear, but it is possible. Not to mention I actually only used 8 broad bolts, which is pretty impressive. And realistically, if we really wanted to save more gear, I think it would be possible with maybe a amulet of magic or just an amulet of power or something like that instead, which would save us an additional 10,000 GP. There are definitely places to cut, but my god, I don't really want to do that anymore. Let's go ahead and dump our very first loot in here and see how much it's actually worth. We got a magic seed, which is pretty lucky. So with 100k investment, we now have 232k plus most of our gear, which means we can continue to do Zulrah, upgrade our gear piece by piece, and eventually be the richest person in the land. Anyway guys, that is going to be it for today's video. I really have enjoyed doing these kind of bossing challenges, so if you have any suggestions, leave a comment down below. The next more obvious one I would kind of like to do is the fight caves. So obviously I ain't no Rendi or anything like that. This is mostly just for fun. Not trying to break records here. I'm sure you could kill Zulrah with less gear, but more so I'm just trying to prove that a noob like me is able to kill these bosses with incredibly inexpensive gear. and really just trying to find unique pieces of gear that actually provide pretty good stat bonuses and trying to showcase them. Anyway guys, that is going to be it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, I would appreciate it if you left the video a like, and I will see you next time.